and welcome to another episode of Garage Game Day Sports. I'm your host, as always, Louis Longoria. No tricks, only treats here for this Halloween episode of the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings. I'm previewing the Sunday night game between the Cowboys at 6-1 and the 3-3 Vikings. Sunday night football should be a good one. Let's go ahead and break it down. The Cowboys, winners of 6 straight. We started 0-1. Cowboys started 0-1. Had that week 1 loss at Tampa Bay. Winners of 6 straight, coming off that overtime win over the Patriots before the bye week. That 35-29 crazy game in Foxborough. Then a much-needed bye week, let guys heal. Kind of allowed guys to calm down a bit. The Vikings kind of playing the same way. Had themselves an overtime win over Carolina. 34-28 in overtime 2 weeks ago. And then last week they had a bye. So kind of sounds familiar, doesn't it? So the Vikings, still a ton of weapons just like the Cowboys do. So they're kind of sort of built in the same way. And Kirk Cousins having himself a year, not turning the ball over, just like Dak. They're both very efficient going on right now. I want to talk injuries real quick. I know Michael Gallup was designated back from the injured reserve. And while it's unlikely he plays this week, there's still a possibility. We don't know for sure until later in the week, but it is a good sign that he is practicing. He is up, moving around, getting involved with the team. So we should see Gallup, if not Sunday, in the very near future. Few questionables. Dak with that calf still injured, still hobbling around. Trevon Diggs, ankle. Tyron Smith, ankle. They were all limited participants in practice on Wednesday. Injury report and practice report yet to be seen today, so it'll be interesting to see what their status is for the games. I would expect, honestly, all of them to play. If they were limited on Wednesday, we may see them in a full participant capacity today or Friday. So it'll be interesting to see there whether or not we're inching closer to full strength or not. The Vikings do have Anthony Barr, questionable with a foot injury. Adam Thielen did have a foot injury, but was a full practice on Wednesday, so I would think he's good to go, and the jury's still out on Anthony Barr, whether he can go or not. La'el Collins is back. Good news for our offensive line. And Mike McCarthy, from what I hear, is wanting to experiment with Collins, moving him around between tackle and guard. So we want to see, what he brings. He's been out 5 weeks. Terrence Steele's just been balling it up right now. He's been outstanding, so we definitely want to keep him on the offensive line and just kind of swing around La'el where we can. Maybe Biotish or Connor Williams, take a back seat, and we can plug and play La'el there. Going back to the Vikings, Kirk Cousins, we know what he brings to the table. 70% completion percentage, 13 touchdowns through the year, only 2 picks, so he has been very efficient, and that's kind of his MO. He doesn't blow you away with stats, but he doesn't blow a lot of games for the Vikings either. He takes good care of the ball. So we're definitely going to want to force mistakes his way and really disrupt that offense and not let Dalvin Cook get going either. Of course, they got Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, 2 big-time wide receivers. We haven't seen a real pair like that, a big duo like that since the Tampa Bay game, of course, with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and then they had Antonio Brown and Gronk. So the Vikings definitely have one of the better duos in the league. But there is someone I want to keep an eye on is KJ Osborne. He's been having himself a pretty decent year, averaging 6 targets a game. So with a focus on Jefferson and Thielen, I could easily see Osborne slipping through the cracks, maybe picking up some key first downs for them. So that's definitely a name to keep an ear out for and an eye out for. Somebody we don't want to let get going. As the same with Dalvin Cook. He's been banged up. He's missed a couple games already. He had a huge game against Carolina, the game before the bye. But in the receiving aspect, he hasn't quite produced to his standards. He had a 6 catch game during the year, but besides that, that's been the only game he's caught more than 2 passes, so we definitely want to keep that trend moving. We don't want to get him going on the ground or through the air, and that just adds another wrinkle to their offense. We don't want to let Kirk Cousins go either. He's efficient, he takes care of the ball, and when he spreads things around, the Vikings offense can often resemble the Cowboys. You've got a dynamic running back who can catch passes, and then you've got a dynamic duo at wideout the same way that we have Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb have been balling out this year. So we definitely want to limit their offense. The Vikings have that defense that's been playing pretty well. We definitely need to watch out for Danielle Hunter, Everson Griffin, Eric Kendricks. Kendricks is the anchor of their defense. He can kind of do it all. He can pass rush. He can pass protect, make tackles. He can fly around the ball, make passes difficult for offenses to complete. Danielle Hunter can bring the heat from the offensive line, as can Griffin. 10 sacks so far between the two of them. Tackles for losses too, so they're tackling machines. They can definitely clog up the holes and make life difficult for Dak and for Zeke, trying to get the offense running. So we definitely want to exercise caution in that front. With Zeke, we want to get him going early. And recently, we've been playing a second half team. Playing as a second half team in the sense that Zeke kind of gets it going, gets his mojo going. We kind of wear down the defense, and then the Cowboys can really explode in the second half and score a lot of their points as they've been doing. So it would be key for the Cowboys to establish that run early, and maybe a little bit more difficult with this pass rush that they've got and some key players that the Vikings have. But I think it's definitely doable for the Cowboys. My matchup to watch for this game is going to be the Cowboys secondary versus that wide receiving core of the Vikings. And of course, Trevon Diggs has been balling out. He's been balling like crazy, interceptions galore. On a fast track to at least, Defensive Player of the Year recognition, at least. I know it's way too early to talk about Defensive Player of the Year, but of course generating lots of buzz with the interceptions and stuff. And the play that they gave up to New England, that was on the safety too. I believe it was Casey. I'm not too sure. But the secondary still does have a tendency to get burned. So with two weapons the caliber of Thielen and Jefferson, and you still got Osborne and others for Cousins to throw to, and even Dalvin Cook coming out of the backfield, this secondary is going to have to really clamp down, make plays, ball hawk, and not let Minnesota get into the game with big plays. I think if we limit them on big plays and just have them chip away, and never really beat the Cowboys deep, I think Dallas will be fine. But yeah, I think we can definitely get some stops. Dallas has been converting well on third downs too. That can help our defense, keep them off the field, keep the offense on the field, control the clock, really take the air out of the ball and tire out the Vikings that in the way that the Cowboys have been doing all season, being a second half team, controlling time of possession, and just kind of letting Zeke and Pollard do their thing on the ground. It's going to be a cooler night, Halloween night in Minneapolis. I checked the weather alert. Doesn't really look like rain, but temps in the 30s and 40s throughout the day on Sunday. So it may make for a lower scoring game. I mean, the Cowboys playing, in a dome. And the Vikings do too, actually. So scratch that. But I do think this will be a defensive-oriented game. Cousins and Dak, two of the most patient passers. They don't make a lot of mistakes. I can see this being somewhat of a defensive struggle. Minnesota's played teams very well, and their three losses, all teams above 500, one of them being the undefeated Cardinals. They lost to close to the Browns, and they lost to the Bengals. So they've been beating teams they're supposed to beat, and they've been remaining competitive against elite teams. So I think it'll be a close game. I think the Cowboys sneak one out on the road. I think it's going to be a tough 27-23 game for the Cowboys. I've got Dak going for 265, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. I think the Vikings snag him once at least. Cousins, I got 280, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But I think a big game for Zeke on the ground and through the air. I think I'll go 75 rushing yards, and I'll go 45 receiving yards, but he has a receiving touchdown. He gets it going through the air. I know in the red zone, Kellen Moore likes to dress things up and really try to fool defenses. I think he'll help Zeke out on that one, and Zeke will get one through the air on the ground, and that'll help the Cowboys with a 27-23 victory over the Vikings on Sunday Night Football. Halloween night, it should be very interesting. But that's my prediction for today. My name is Louis Longoria, Garage Game Day Sports. Like, comment, subscribe down below. YouTube, you know what to do. Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. I will see you guys next time. I will try to be 100% by Halloween so I can have some fun too. So, see you guys later.